Hello today, welcome to New Independence Network. It is August 3rd, 2016. Here's our newest update. If you follow us on Twitter, you may have seen the post we placed up last night about comparing Democrats to terrorists. We gave three quick shots of that, three quick examples in the tweet, but there's more to it, and I wanted to go into some more detail about that. You know, some are probably seeing that, how can you compare Democrats to terrorists? How can you do that? Well, let's do the math. First off, the Democrats love to try to compare the soldiers to terrorists, our soldiers who are fighting, who they actually put in there and voted to go to war in Iraq. They like to compare them to terrorists. You know, it's been done. Democrats have done that. So honestly, that's not accurate. What's more accurate is comparing Democrats to terrorists. And they do a lot of things that are very similar. So let's talk about a couple of those things. Number one, what do terrorists do that Democrats do? Well, first thing, and you've seen it a lot, and we'll go from small to large here, they stir up dissent. First thing, they stir up dissent. Terrorists love to protest, riot, they burn flags, they burn things in effigy, like an image of Bush or Obama, whoever our president is at the time. They burn them in effigy. They damage property during their riots. Terrorists shoot guns in the air. We don't shoot guns in the air, but that's a cultural thing for the Middle East. That's kind of common, how they shoot guns in the air for a party. But Democrats, they don't just protest. Protesting is covered under the Constitution. Of course, orderly protest is covered. Organization is covered. Orderly. But when you are blocking traffic, like the Black Lives Matter terrorists have done, and causing turmoil in a city, especially during rush hour, any time is bad, but you know, it is what it is with rush hour. It's even worse. When you are rioting, like the people in Baltimore did, destroying stores and burning things down in your own neighborhoods, that's terrorism. That's what terrorists do. Can you burn an American flag under the Constitution? Of course you can. It's protected, sadly, under the Constitution that you are allowed to burn a flag, freedom of expression. However, terrorists do the same thing. They burn flags, and like I said before, they burn images of our presidents and other people in effigy. And they destroy property. Terrorists do that. Now, they don't destroy property in their protesting as much as we do. Democrats do. Liberals do. Democrats destroy property. Look at Occupy Wall Street. Those clowns were defecating on police cars. We saw that. They spray paint buildings. They smash windows. All because they're upset. Because someone's making more money than they are. Because they don't know how to work, get a job, do something, and strive for more. They like to complain, and they're jealous because other people have made more money than them. But that gives them the right to destroy things. Well, they all do the same thing terrorists do. Okay? Terrorists attack those with differing ideologies. So do Democrats. How about that? Specifically liberal Democrats. But yes, if you don't agree with what a Democrat says or believes, you are attacked mercilessly. That's more of the libocracy, the liberal hypocrisy. If you don't believe in climate change, you're a denier. You're anti-environment. They come after you with reckless abandon. And not only do they come after you, your opinion is your opinion, but you are considered a Neanderthal. You don't believe in science. Well, a little quick aside here. I find it kind of funny. Liberals in science. It's more of the liberal hypocrisy, more of the libocracy, as I like to call it. They love to use science to defend themselves, to defend their points. But then when science refutes their points, then they have an issue with science. And it doesn't matter. It's different. Science is always changing. Well, then it should be changing for climate change too. The fraud That is climate change. But yes, if you're a climate change denier, you are a heathen in their eyes. You don't believe in their religion, because for these clowns, climate change is like a religion. Their beliefs are like their religion. There is religion, and then there's liberal Democrat religion. And their religion is all about their policy, all about their agenda. If you don't believe in abortion, you don't care about women. You want to destroy women and kill their bodies. And not only, see, when you don't believe in a terrorist's ideology, they attack you. Now, the Islamic terrorists kill you. They chop their heads off, they set you on fire, they lower you into a vat of acid while you're alive. They do a lot of horrible things to you. Liberal Democrat terrorists, they like to destroy your life. They will get you fired from your job. They'll get you kicked out of school, like we saw with the woman that I talked about in yesterday's update, who was flying the Confederate flag, the police officer in front of her own home. She flew a Confederate flag, and some stranger just ratted her out. And then she was fired after being a police officer for 20 years. She was fired. Like the girl at University of Houston who posted after the Dallas shootings, "All lives matter." She was sentenced to all of community service and counseling because they're trying to re-educate her in the eyes of the liberal agenda. They want you to learn their ideology. So you are being brainwashed. This is what they want to do. So they try to ruin your life. They besmirch your character. They come after you all the time, and he's a child killer, or he wants to kill babies, or he's a war criminal. That's their MO. So there you go. You don't agree with a liberal ideology. They attack you and ruin your life, or try to. You don't believe in a terrorist ideology. Well, they ruin your life and they attack you, but they kill you. So they're very similar. We've already kind of covered it, but they're violent. Terrorists are violent. Terrorists plant IEDs, they blow things up. Well, what was Bill Ayers? Bill Ayers really was a terrorist, but now he's lauded and praised by the liberal sect. He's a teacher, for crying out loud. He's an actual college teacher. I think he's in Vassar. I'm not sure, but he's a college professor now. This is a terrorist. He was an actually convicted terrorist. They blew up federal buildings. They killed people. They wanted to attack the government at the highest levels with explosives. But he's praised. Why? Because he fits into their ideology. He's a terrorist, and they respect that. If a Christian did something like that, oh, he's a racist, he's anti-government, he's a tyrant, and they're going to go crazy over somebody else who's not. I mean, if it's a Muslim, you're good to go. If you're a liberal Democrat kook, hippie freako wacko from the 60s, you're good to go. But if you're a Christian who does it, now I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying, but see, the Christians, we will go after our own. We'll condemn those of us who do it. If someone does that, like the kid shot up the church in Charleston, we're like, that's absolutely not a Christian thing to do. That's terrible. But if a Democrat shoots something up, oh, it's got to be the guns did that. It wasn't him. It was, but it's his ideology that you've been pushing for years, for decades. It's the ideology. Oh, it's the guns. It's guns. You're mentally unstable. See, and that's, well, why are you mentally unstable? Because you're a liberal Democrat. So there's violence that the Democrats do. They take part in violent actions. They attack people. They damage property. We discussed this just a few seconds ago. So Black Lives Matter is all about the violence. It's funny. Black Lives Matter is a liberal movement. You know it's funded by Soros, George Soros. You know it is. He's got his hands in this. Now they're making demands of the federal government. They want reparations for slavery. They want exemptions from taxes. There's a whole litany of stupid demands. Well, who makes demands? Terrorists do. But once again, what's going to happen is if they get too far out of hand, Democrats will use them as the human shield. Even though Democrats are the ones that are funding Black Lives Matter, even though Democrats, I agree with their ideology because it helps them politically. Democrats like to use minority groups, and they're going to use Black Lives Matter to be the front. BLM is the front for liberal Democrats. We can have them stirring dissent, and what we can do is we can hide behind them like a human shield, surprise, surprise. We can hide behind them and pretend that they're just the extremists, and when it gets too crazy, we can say, well, we don't agree. We don't condone that action. That's terrible. And that's what they do all the time. So what happens, if you notice they were all about, Black Lives Matter, and the Democrats were chanting it and then the shooting in Dallas happened. One of their terrorists became unhinged, killed 5 police, and shot 2 other civilians, right? And all of a sudden, like, oh, he was a loner. He was his own. He was his own guy. It was access to guns. He was a mentally ill. And now all of a sudden they're perpetuating. He was in the military. He was a reservist. But he went over to Iraq. He was a reservist. He didn't have PTSD. He was never diagnosed with that. He was a racist. He was inflamed by the anger that Black Lives Movement, funded by George Soros and the Democrats, perpetuated. He was influenced by that. They inflamed his anger, and it boiled over. And this new girl that was shot in Baltimore sat there in her living room with a loaded gun. She threatened the cops to kill her a number of times in the past as well. And still, these racists come out and say, there's no proof. There's no proof that she did. She wanted it to happen. She pointed a gun at police. If you're going to point a gun at the police, and they gave her plenty of time. First off, do you know how quickly you can fire a gun once you point it at somebody? In a blink of an eye. It's not like the movies where they'll keep the gun held on you forever until the hero comes in to save the day. If someone wants to shoot you, they shoot. And in a blink of an eye, that can be done. Now, if someone's pointing a gun at me, and it's between my life and their life, they're gone. The minute you point that gun at me, I'm shooting you first. Because my life's more valuable than yours, in my eyes. That's bottom line. I'm taking care of myself first. Has to be done. I don't care about you. You've pointed your gun at me. But she had a child. She should have thought of that before she pointed the gun at me. I didn't shoot her kid. I shot her. That's her fault. That's just the way it is. But that's what they do. They brainwash people. They get them unhinged. And all these people are becoming converts. They're being indoctrinated. Now they say that he wasn't ISIS, but he was indoctrinated. He was a homegrown terrorist. He was... Okay, well then so are these Black Lives Matter people. They're homegrown terrorists, indoctrinated by liberal ideology. They're ready to kill people. They're ready to destroy things. They want to kill cops. They want to protest. They want to destroy things, rob stores, cause turmoil, shut down the government. They want to be tyrannical. That's what they want. They want tyranny and chaos. And that's their movement. That's what terrorists do. That's the exact same thing that terrorists do. They just do it a little more violently. I'll tell you what, if these people had access to... And wait, the guy in Dallas had explosives. He had C4 in his home, in his vehicle, I believe. At least it was in his home. So, yeah, if they had access to explosives, they'd use them. Bill Ayers did. Other terrorists have. So, it's right there, kids. It's right there. So next, they occupy areas to force their message. Well, we kind of touched on that. Occupy Wall Street. See, terrorists take down towns and churches and schools, okay? They take those areas down and they use them for their own purposes. Democrats take streets, private businesses, and towns. They will hold a town hostage. I mean, you can't tell me if you look outside, it was all protests, but if you look outside at any town, Baton Rouge, they shut down the roads in Baton Rouge. If you're looking outside the Republican or Democrat National Convention, they were occupying whole areas. But the liberal governments of Philadelphia had to give them an area and said, this is your protest zone. This is where you protest. Well, it didn't just stop there. But they had to give them an area. Otherwise, these kooks would have taken an area. They use people as human shields. Now, this is very prominent and very prevalent to today. Use people as human shields. I mean, they all apply, but this one, yeah. What's going on recently makes a lot of sense. Khizr Khan is a human shield. What do you mean? What do you mean? The Hillary Clinton, leader of the liberals right now, pretty much Obama and her, but Hillary is the one running for the next reign of terror. Okay, she wants to be the new terrorist leader. She's using Khizr Khan as a shield. They put him on stage, so he takes the shrapnel, and the attention is diverted away from Hillary Clinton. The media is not talking about her. They're talking about Khizr Khan. She's not talking about any of her policies. Khizr Khan is talking about everything. It's a complete distraction, as I talked about in a previous podcast. It's all a distraction. But he's the human shield. She's hiding behind him. Democrats will hide behind Khizr Khan. He becomes their poster boy. And if anybody's character is going to be ruined, it's going to be this Gold Star parent. He's expendable to them. They don't care. Oh, that's okay. Let him go. He take like the terrorists. He'll let them take the shot. Let them kill the children. If they go after him, see, if you're a terrorist, you're hiding behind children, hiding behind women. So if the military comes in and they shoot the child trying to shoot you, then how could you kill a child? You're terrible. You're a horrible person. How could you do that? Now you're like, uh-oh, what do I do? So here's a Gold Star parent, and Donald Trump fires shots. And guess what? Hits the Gold Star parent. He aimed right for him. And everybody goes, how could you do that? And that's exactly what they wanted to do. They have it exactly how they want it, folks. Khizr Khan is their human shield. His wife is their human shield. They're hiding behind them because liberals are cowards. That's my last step. We'll get to that, but they're cowards, much like terrorists are cowards. They hide behind Cindy Sheehan. They did it before. We talked about her. They hid behind her until this woman was a laughingstock. I mean, Khan's business is ruined. He had to take down his legal website. He's done. His credibility is shot. For most people, you think people are going to go to him now as an attorney while he was working to get illegals into this country? Yeah, did you hear about that one? Yeah, illegals were coming into the United States on a pay-for-play. It's actually illegal. It's legal, but he was actually taking part in this horrible thing. The people are paying. They're paying $500,000 up to $500,000, which is actually cheaper than a lot of countries. They pay $500,000 to get a green card. So someone will pay $500,000 for a Muslim, and this is primarily Muslims, to get a green card. And once you're in the green card, get a green card, you can come in. And they'll stay and work in, legal immigration. They don't care. But he was a lawyer for that. So he was all about, so Mr. Constitution's talking about, he's following laws, but I mean, at the same time, it's a terrible law. So Khan was into some, and there's more stuff coming out on him. There's a lot of stuff coming out. There's a whole thing about him. I still have to read up on it, about him and Sharia, wanting Sharia, using Sharia over the Constitution or something in his, I don't know what it is. I'll read more into that and I'll let you know if I find out or post it. But yeah, they've destroyed his business. So Khan's business is gone, pretty much. Well, I mean, I'm sure it'll rebound, but he's making plenty of money from these news shows, CNN, MSNBC. They're all paying him to go on the show, so he's making bucks. But, and he's playing the victim. I don't want to be in the limelight anymore. I don't want to. Well, if you don't want to be in the limelight, then why are you doing a Facebook Live on CNN last night with Anderson Cooper? Why? That's just going to make you look even worse. So why are you even doing a Facebook Live? You're a Gold Star parent whose kid died 11 years ago. You're not running for office, but the media is using him as a human shield. It's all about, the more Hillary is out of the limelight, the more she keeps her mouth shut, the more her poll numbers go up. Because when she opens her mouth, she destroys herself because she is incompetent. She has no clue, and she's a radical. She is a terrorist. They use blacks all the time. I've discussed that before. But they do. They use blacks all the time as human shields. Can't attack. They use the blacks just like you're using Black Lives Matter. We just talked about that. You attack Black Lives Matter, they run off scot-free saying, okay, we're good. LGBT, women, they use them all. This is what they do. Terrorists do the exact same thing. And lastly, like I said, they're cowards. Democrats are cowards, as are terrorists. Terrorists attack little children. They kill women. They kill people who can't protect themselves. Democrats do the exact same thing. And they hide. They hide behind people, and they avoid conflict because they're cowards. If you attack a Democrat, specifically a liberal Democrat, but if you attack a Democrat with facts and you really attack them, they cave in a second. They'll resort to name calling right away. Right away. They will call you racist, anti-Semite. Right away they'll fold because they work on an ideology. You see, where Republicans, primarily conservative Republicans like myself, where Republicans focus on facts and principles, and we understand how things function and the logic behind it. Liberals have no logic. They're all about emotion and ideology. They're all about how they feel, how you feel today, how we feel today, how the climate change makes me feel. Because if there were logic to it, they would say, it doesn't make sense. It's just weather. But we look at it logically. If they were logical, they would say, it doesn't make sense to kill 1 million babies, 200,000 babies a day. It doesn't make sense to sell their body parts, to chop up unborn kids. But they're about ideology. It's the rights of the woman. And that's what they're all about. But they're cowards, though. So you attack them with facts. They have no facts. They try to have facts, but their facts are based on ideology. So there's your comparisons. And it's pretty scary if you stop and think about it. Liberals, specifically liberals, but Democrats and terrorists are very much the same thing. Stir up dissent. They attack those with differing ideologies. They're violent. They occupy areas to force their message. They use people as human shields, and they're cowards. This pretty much sums it up. And Hillary Clinton is the next terrorist leader coming down the pipe, figuratively. But if you look at it, it's kind of scary. Okay, that's the update for today. This is the New Independence Network, and I will talk to you later.